Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi and today we are going to discuss interpolate function in Pandas, right? So what you just heard, that is interpolate function. Now what is that basically used for? So that is basically used for filling up the null values, okay? Let's say you are having some data, okay? In that you just got out some null values. Now you just want to just fill up that null values using some other values or some preceding values and all that things, right? So in that case, basically what happens, we use this interpolate function, right? So when I just started telling you about the way for filling the null values, let me go at that particular column here, right? So here I just mentioned like different functions which I just use to find out the null values and even which I just use to fill up that null values, right? So in that we are having one function, that one is interpolate function, right? So now today we are going to see that basically how this function works. Okay, we had already seen about is null function, we have seen about draw fill now function, we have seen about replace function. Now today is the turn for the interpolate function. Now let me quickly go upside and explain you that what we were previously doing. So here basically what I was having, I was just importing my numpy libraries. Okay, I just imported that import numpy as np, right? So this np was the short form which I have given to my library, right? To my NumPy library. Next, what we are having, I was just importing my Pandas library. Now, Pandas is my another library which I am just importing here, and I have just given it a short form, that is PD. Fine. Now, what I would be doing, I would be just running this for a while because I have not executed the down cells. And now, what next I would be doing, I would just take some cells here and I would be writing this like some further codes here itself, okay, for doing that null values. So for like showing you how this interpolate function works, I have not taken in particular data set. So here we'll be seeing that firstly how you can just define a random data set for you. Okay, we are just going to see first that how if you just not have a particular data set and if you just want to try like do a hit and trial on some data in which you can just use that particular function. So how you are just going to proceed on that things, fine. Let me just quickly write it. Let's see, here I have just taken a variable that is df. Fine. Now here what I would just write, okay, firstly I will just write my PD. Okay, PD is my pandas library and data frame, pandas data frame. Fine, PD dot data frame. Now I would just put a bracket here, then the is firstly just hold on, okay, so small brackets and then curly brackets. Fine, inside these curly brackets what I would do, I would just start writing the names and like the columns, like inside the columns what you want and all that things. Fine, I would just write here firstly as a, I would put a colon, and inside after this I would just declare a list. Okay, and in this list I would just write some value. Let's say my value is 10, sorry 12, then 10, and then let's say I just wrote 9, and I would even put a comma. Now just let me show you this thing. Now here I would just write none. Now basically what does this none means? This means that I have like written a null value here. I have just defined a null value this side, that is none. Okay, so this is the procedure. If you just want to make one a data set for you for a demo like that, so you can just do it in this way. Fine, I would just put, okay, I don't know, basically like actually the font size is very small, that is why it basically occurs like every time. Fine, let me just write here as b. Okay, b, and I would just again put a colon and I would put that brackets, and here let's say my first value is none, my second value is let's say 16, my third value is 24, then 2, then again none. Okay, so just let me again show that to you once more. Fine, so none, 16, 24, 2 and none. Fine, I would just again put a comma, I would again go down and just let me do that thing once more. Fine, here what I would be doing, I would be just writing the c here. Okay, I would just write it as c. Fine, I would again put a comma, and inside this bracket I would let's say define 25, and then I would let's say define 19. Let's say I just want to write a none value. Fine, let's say I was write 5, 9. So these are the things which you can basically do on your own also, right? So if it is not visible to you, so it is like not a very big issue, you can just write it on your own also. Fine, I would just make it here one more, and I would just 1 second, and let me take it to proper alignment. Fine, I would just declare one D or one more side here, fine. This D, then my colon, and then my large bracket. Inside this, let's say my values are 14, then comma 29, comma, let's say my value is none. So here listen to my words, fine, okay? None. And then I will just again write one more none. Okay, two none. I have just declared here. And one I will just write as let's say 5. So this is basically how you just make a data for your own if you just want to try out any function or something like that. So this is the way how you're just gonna make your data. I will just run this once. Fine. So I would just now write df here and let me just check out my data, that basically what has come here in the form of my data. So here we have. So A, B, C and D are the columns. The 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the index for my rows. And here we have different numbers and even we have the non values. Fine. So this is the this was the reason why I was just writing here as none. Okay. So this none has automatically been converted into this none. Fine. Okay, now what is next happening here? Next, I would just let you know about the interpolate function. So just let me write here that df dot interpolate. Okay, interpolate. Okay, right. Now I would just put a bracket. Now what is the way for writing this? So firstly, I would just write here as method is equal to. Okay, and now here I will just put the semicolon and here I would just write as linear. So what I just meant from here that I need a linear method here. Okay, so method is equal to linear. Now what next I have, I would just write here as limit underscore direction. Okay, limit underscore direction. I would put a equal to sign and here I would just write as forward. Fine, I just want this direction. I want the forward direction. That means all the values which are just filling here, they should be in the forward direction and I would just run it here. Fine. Yeah, this is here is my cursor. Fine. So now just have a look that basically all of my null values are automatically filled, but what is left here? There are one value is left. Why this value is left here basically? Because what I have written? I have written that limit direction is equal to forward. So it is going to fill all the values in the forward way. Basically here it's like it's 16. So if this 24 would be like blank, so it will be filling that here. It will not go up and check that is this value like blank or not. Okay, it is just going to fill the all the values which it is coming under it. Fine, it is not going to fill this particular value because it's present at the very starting also. Fine, so this is basically what is called as limit direction, in which we just wrote forward. Okay, this is the basic idea for using it. Fine, just interpolate. Now next we have one more parameter here. I will just write df dot, I would write interpolate. And we have one more thing here, and even I would just write method is equal to, I would just write here as linear. Okay, method is equal to linear. What next? In my limit direction, just one second. In my limit direction, I can even write backward. Okay, now I would just writing that and then I would just show you. So here it is my limit underscore direction is equal to, and here I would just write as backward. And yeah. Now, I have one more parameter here and that parameter is limit. Now, basically what does this limit means? This limit means that I need to fill limited means maximum this much of values in that data set. Okay, let me show you. Just let me quickly run that. Fine. Okay, let me just go above. Fine. Just one second more. Right. So here basically what it is doing now, firstly look at into my data set. The column number B and column number D. These both are having two null values in them, right? So here what is happening in my column number B and in my column number D, one null value is left. Why that is left? Why that has not been filled? Because my limit here is 1. Okay, because I have given my limit 1, that is like I have just given a particular limit that okay, you can just fill up this much of only values in this function. You can fill only this much of values, this much of like replace null values in this particular data. Fine. So this is the idea basically how we just use this limit function, right? Now here as I have used this limit direction is backward. So obviously my this number has been filled, right? When I had just used this forward, right? So in this I have used forward. So this was not filled, okay? Because I just told that it is going down and down and down the forward direction. But here what is the case? Here even I have just written limit direction is equal to backward. So that means it is going to fill up all of my values even in the backward direction also. And the other parameter which I have just defined here is limit is equal to 1. So that means it will be filling maximum one null value into my data set, whatever I have just written here, right? So here I just told you that basically how you can just use your interpolate function and even how you can just declare like make a data of your own if you just want to try out any function or something like that. So how can you just make a let's say a data for your own? So here what I have just defined, I have just taken a small bracket, then a curly bracket, right? And even I have just given the column names here inside these semicolons. Whatever the column name you want, here I have just taken a sample one. So I have just like written it as A, B, C, and D, fine. And inside this list, I have just taken a list because list basically takes all type of all type of data types, right? So inside list we can declare float, character, and all of that data types in only one variable, right? So that is why I have just taken here as list. So inside this I have declared different values and basically just perform this interpolate function, right? So I just hope you just got the idea that how you can just perform this interpolate function for filling up your null values, right? So this is all for this video, children. Thank you and bye bye.